Typically, when you're this early in the draft process, not many sub-Power 4 school players are getting a ton of buzz. But each and every year, you'll get a couple, and those are definitely players you need to keep an eye on in any given draft. One of my favorite prospects in the entire draft class is from Jacksonville State, and it's guard Clay Webb, a player who I believe has as high a ceiling as any interior player in this draft class, despite playing for a smaller school. Where should he ultimately get selected in the 2025 NFL Draft? That's what we will be going over in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon. For $5 a month, you guys will get exclusive access to my draft board, evaluations, prospect interviews, and much more. If you want to get into this draft class before anyone else does, I highly recommend it, and I think it's going to be a great tool for you guys to use throughout the draft process. Leave a like, and without further ado, let's take a closer look at Clay Webb. Webb has a very interesting backstory. He started his collegiate career with Georgia as he was a 5-star recruit, but after not getting much playing time and some off-field issues, he decided to leave the Bulldogs and ended up joining the Jacksonvillestate Gamecocks. A huge change in competition level, but since joining the Gamecocks, he has been incredibly impressive. His 2023 season, he played 848 snaps, allowing just 6 pressures and 1 sack on the season, and he was one of PFF's highest graded guards in all of college football, and he's a player that a lot of people have on their early draft radars. As an athlete, Webb is incredibly impressive. He is excellent in space, and he doesn't move like an offensive lineman typically moves. I wouldn't be surprised if he is one of the faster guards in NFL Combine history because he has incredible get-off and is super light on his feet, and he just moves incredibly fluid for the position. The area that his athleticism is really on display is as a run blocker. He is nasty in the run game. He blocks with a ton of power, and he is a bulldozer in space. He also did an excellent job of being a puller in the run game. He had the quickness to get to the outside, get in front of the runner, and he landed some of the most powerful blocks you're going to see. He is nasty at the attack point, and if you guys have followed the channel for a while, those are things I love in an offensive lineman. I was super impressed with his ability as a run blocker, and his athletic profile as a whole is super intriguing. As a pass blocker, Webb is fantastic there as well. He has excellent upper body strength, and he was able to control the rep early and often. His hand placement was very nice, and he did a solid job of countering pass rush moves and not losing to finesse. He brings that same nastiness in the run game that he does to the pass game, and he is a fantastic blocker in both phases, and I think it makes him super intriguing. Playing against smaller school competition always comes with its worries, but Webb is not a perfect prospect. He is slightly undersized for the guard position, standing at 6'3", 290 pounds. While I don't think it's a major problem, it isn't ideal in the slightest, and it does affect his play. More specifically, his lower body strength, which is not amazing. When he went up against more power rushers, he really struggled from time to time. He didn't have the best anchor in the world, and his footwork wasn't amazing either. So adding on a few pounds would be good and help him improve his anchor. However, you're worried if he does that, he loses some of the quickness that makes him such a valuable prospect. So it's going to be interesting to see how his weight plays at the NFL level. Webb also does play with high pads from time to time. I think this is more detrimental to his anchor than his size, in all honesty. By playing with high pads, he isn't generating that strength from his lower body with his get-off, and it does cause him to get flat-footed from time to time. And by being flat-footed, he is more susceptible to being pushed back. It also causes him to overextend at times in the run game and miss his assignment altogether. So I think he needs to work on his pad level as well. Clay Webb is a super elite athlete who is an incredible run blocker and awesome pass protector as well. He has a ton of tools that I think are going to translate incredible to the next level, but he also has some weaknesses that I think push him down the board slightly and could be red flags for teams. They're things I think he is more than capable of fixing, but as of right now, he is my number 4 interior offensive line prospect in the draft. The anchor does worry me a little bit, but I think he is more than capable of fixing that by improving his pad level, and if he does add on a few pounds, I think he's a borderline first round talent, because even without that stuff right now, he grades out as a top 50 player in the draft class for me. In terms of a scheme fit, I think Webb is perfect for the zone run attack. His ability to get out in space, land heavy blocks, and pull in the run game are going to benefit him massively at the NFL level. Truthfully, I think his skill set translates anywhere, but I think in a heavy run system, he's going to thrive. Yes, he can pass protect, but as we've seen in his collegiate career, he works best on the move as a run blocker, and that's where I want to see him in the NFL. Coming up with a comparison for Clay Webb was very difficult, because a lot of the more undersized guards in football don't have the type of versatility that Webb has in terms of the pass blocking and the run blocking. And while it is a lofty comparison, Clay Webb reminds me a little bit of Atlanta Falcons guard Chris Lindstrom. Lindstrom has been elite for Atlanta over the past few years, and you could argue he's the best guard in the league. He's an incredible mover in space, he's an elite run blocker, who also holds his own very nicely as a pass protector as well. I think Webb has a very comparable skill set. Neither are the biggest guys in the world, but they can work in any scheme that they are put in, and so that's the comp that I landed on. I know it's a lofty one, but I think they have a very similar skill set. Clay Webb is a wonderful run blocker. He moves incredibly in space, is a strong and powerful blocker, and I think he has some truly elite upside at the position. I am a massive fan of this player, and I ultimately believe that Clay Webb will be an early day 2 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.